So I want to get your thoughts on kind of the future of cognizant healthcare, especially given, Avi, your unique vantage point. What will healthcare look like, let's say, in 5 years? Like, how much transformation will we see?
Well, let's talk about one of the most important forces that is at play in our business, and we'll talk about payer and provider to start there. We have known for a long time that the ways in which money was separated from the provisioning of medical services was really just about the insurance element, and insurance is risk pooling. Insurance is it's a long short game, right? It is game may not be the right word, forgive me, but it is making sure that you collect money today that may be available the next year and the year after for the desired expenditure, the medical expenditure in this case, but it could be for any, property casualty has a similar kind of concept, right? We ended up with hyper specialization that insurers took part in, and that created this very large payer industry. And that was like almost wave one. You guys, you doctors and medical centers, you become the providers, we'll become the payers, and it's almost like, and we are hyper specialized, and that will create the efficiency gains the system needs. They began to recognize well over a decade back, the RAND Corporation was publishing papers, I think it was 2 decades back, saying there's something wrong with this model. The first HMO concept was published by RAND 20 odd years back, right? And Kaiser Permanente showed, for example, an HMO where if you combine payer and provider and you focus on just outcomes, you actually remove the inefficiencies in that transactional barrier between payers and providers. So for lower cost, you get some of the best outcomes. We haven't been able to, till fairly recently, understand how to take that model and almost like nationalize it without going into politically charged terms like universal payer and single payer. That I think is something I want to stay away from. But I think the ability to say convergence between payer and provider that is driven by focus on the patient, on the outcome, will change the concept of capitation as we know it and will allow for larger and larger systems to come about. And at the core of that, what we're seeing at Cognizant, at the core of that is the availability of data. So whether it is patient health records, whether it is medical SOPs, whether it is all of the DRGs and ICD-9s that code onto that, whether it is all of the outcomes, doing all of that, putting that into one bin, if I may, not that it's, allowed to be for all kinds of privacy and purity of data reasons, allowed to be put into a single thing and meshed, but allowing us to do that, and then pulling the analysis from that to say what can we do best, what is the construct of cost that best matches the outcome. So I think we're going to are seeing a lot more of that, right? So I'd start there. And then I'd say, let's tie it back to something else we said earlier about cell and gene and durable and curative therapies. In order to pay for durable and curative therapies, every pharma company, to get the price that is even reasonably close to the kind of economic benefits they're generating, they have to be part of that same construct we just put together to say, now let's have value-based contracts that allow us to posit a value in the future and have the contract. So a mediation mechanism that allows us to get all the way there is part of this arc, and we're beginning to see this. So this is one big thing we just talked about. I'm going to talk about another, which is slightly more prosaic, but nonetheless important. We're beginning to see surgery get robotic surgery, and not just robotic in the sense that there's a servomotor function with a scalpel that is controlled by some very fancy gadget. It is the artificial intelligence that is generating exactly which part of the tissue is the part that needs to be where the incision gets made, and is coaching the doctor or hinting to the doctor, you may have wanted to go here, but go slightly, 2 millimeters to your right. That ability of systems that are self-learning, that are both looking at historical and looking at current data, and then keeping on learning to coach physicians, giving us better and better outcomes. And it's not then just about the US, right? This allows us to say, if we do this right, there's a universal construct here. The best learnings in surgery can be applied to the 8 billion people in this world with robotic surgical options. So that's the second one. And then a third one, and then I'll stop, is we're actually seeing a huge amount of moving all of this as closely as possible to a patient who is a consumer, so that consumers are getting to make choices. So whether it is which physician do I trust, which procedure do I engage in, is this thing I was told about, let me do this and it'll give me that outcome, really correct? Or is it just someone saying, I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, so I want to do open heart surgery, when in fact a angioplasty might be better for me, or in fact just taking drugs for 10 years will give me the same or better outcome and I didn't have to do anything to be that interventional. All those choices being available to a patient. And I used one example. This is now multiplied by the tens of thousands of disease types that we deal with. So it's getting very real, very fast to consumers and patients.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. This segment is brought to you by Salesforce. Salesforce brings marketing and engagement together. If you want to learn more, head over to salesforce.com/marketing. And please subscribe to this channel for more marketing insights from the world's best marketing leaders across the Fortune 500 and beyond.